Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am all about the gorgeous Memorable Blooms bundle from the Stampin' Up! 2025 January to April Mini Catalogue. Now, this is a bundle that may have been just totally overlooked and passed by. There is so much in this catalog, and there are so many new releases happening, it seems like every week, that it's easy to miss some of these things. So I thought I would highlight this bundle, mainly because I love the hexagon windows that it cuts. So I'm going to show you 3 projects today. All of them use the hexagon shape. And I'm actually going to pair this bundle with my new favorite stamp set, the Elements of Text. So I'm going to show you some projects. We're going to make 3. I'll show you some more at the end, as is typically my practice. So you know the drill if you've been joining me for any length of time. So if you are watching, whether you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, let me know whether you're watching me live or you're catching the replay. It's always nice to know that somebody's out there watching me. That I'm not talking to myself and listening to myself, because I'm getting an echo from my phone. I've got a new sound setup that you seemed to like last week. It seemed to go well, but I'm hearing my own voice on a bit of a delay in my ear. So if I sound kind of distracted, that's why. All right, so give me a hello. Let me know you're here. While you are doing that, I am going to flip to my desk and show you the products we're going to use today. So the Memorable Blooms bundle, that is really hard to say, Memorable Blooms, is on page 50 of the mini catalog. Here in Canada, it runs at $76.50, which actually qualifies you for a celebration freebie now till the end of the month. And you get this beautiful stamp set and coordinating dies. So let me show them to you in real life, or full size. So here is the stamp set. We've got some beautiful floral images that are so much fun to color. You're going to see me coloring them today. And then we've got lots of different mixed font sentiments. So a great versatile set. I'm actually going to show you my second card. It's going to be a masculine card that I'm gonna show you today. I actually didn't get a chance to post my project today. I typically post every morning, but it has been such a nonstop day. I did not get a chance. So you are seeing the project before I actually posted it. So that's all right. I will post it when I'm done here. But that's the stamp set. And then we also have our coordinating dies. So we've got open dies to cut out the 3 sort of images. And then we have these extra dies. Now, let me just show you these hexagon dies. So this one here, cuts the actual hexagon shape, and it gives you a stitched border. Okay, you're going to see that on one of the projects we do. But then it also cuts a window that that's left on the negative, so you can get a really pretty effect. You're going to see that on one of the projects as well. I wanted to show you how these work, so you're going to see them on the projects that we do today. This one is used when it's used paired with this one. So they kind of nest. You can see if I lay them down on my magnet sheet here, they nest. You can run them both through together, and that will give you this detailed die cut. If you only run it through with this inside piece, you will get a window, like a peek through window. Is it an octagon? 1, 2, 3. You are right. Thanks, Jean. I know my shapes. Did I mention I'm a music teacher? I don't need to know shapes. Anything beyond a triangle, and yeah, a triangle. 3/4 time. That's it. Thank you for correcting me. It is an octagon. Thank you. So then we have also this sort of leaf or branch image that is really nice layered behind the stamp images. So you're going to see that one in action a whole bunch today. So that is the bundle. And then I'm also going to be using, I think on 2 out of the 3 cards, not our first one, but the next 2, I'm going to be using stamps from the Elements of Text stamp set. Now, this is an online exclusive. You may have missed it. It is a beautiful set. I love texture, and I love using text to provide texture. So this set is going to be one that lives in my studio for a very long time. It has become a favorite, and I don't think it's ever actually made it onto my shelf. It just sits on my desk because I keep pulling it out. So that is another stamp set that we are going to be using today. All right, so let's start with our first project. Now, before I do, let me just see who's joining me here. All right. Oh, we got lots joining today. All right. So we've got Jean. Yep. Thank you for correcting me on my shapes, Jean. And Jeannie K and Laura and Mia. Hello. Hi, Julie and Doris and Pam and Nicole. Wow, we've got lots and lots joining. Hi, Brenda, Leata, Laura, welcome, welcome. Hi, Barbara and Judy. Oh, there's somebody from Facebook. Okay, I was a little worried that I was not coming through on Facebook, but I see a couple comments from Facebook, so that's good. All right. Hi, Marva. Welcome. I'm glad you could join me live. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Darlene. I love this stamp set too. So hopefully I'll make you love it more, Darlene. Okay. So the first project we're going to do today is fairly quick and easy. Little bit of coloring, but nothing too over the top. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is stamp our background. So I love this sort of leafy image to just add really, really subtle tone on tone texture to our background here. So I'm using soft seafoam cardstock. It is 4 by 5¼ inches. And then I'm going to stamp on soft seafoam or with soft seafoam ink. Now I just re-inked this, so it's probably going to be a little bit darker than my sample. Yes, it is. My ink pad was very, very dry when I created my sample. So this is going to be a little bit bolder, but that's all right. Just be a little bit more pronounced texture. I'm not going to worry too much about the middle because that's going to get covered with my hexagon. But there we go. There is our background. Really, really simple. We'll set that aside. And then we are going to layer on that our octagons. So we have our detailed die cut. So this is one where I've used both dies together. Okay, so both this one and the detailed one. And you can see that I get this octagon shape that has that lovely stitched border. Now I put adhesive sheets on the back to make it easy to layer. When I use just that outside frame die on its own, I get just the octagon shape with the stitch border. Now this is a little bit of beautiful Bokeh DSP. So we're going to layer the detailed die cut onto our DSP. So I'm going to just, well, let's see if we can get this. I should have poked out my bits ahead of time. I apologize. Did I mention it's been a crazy, crazy day? It's been a crazy week and it's only Tuesday. Sometimes, you know, you just want to get off the moving train. Take a break. But the nice thing is, you see how I got most of my bits came out with my backing. So I'm just going to get rid of these extra little guys here. And I find when I have adhesive sheets on the back, the easiest way to get rid of the extra bits sometimes is to just stick them to my finger. So I just kind of press them onto my finger. If they're still sticky, sometimes the backing comes off with them. Adhesive sheets are your best friend with these detailed die cuts. Like there's no way I would be putting liquid glue on all of these detailed bits. I don't have the patience for that. I have patience to teach teenagers, but not to work with liquid glue on itty bitty cardstock. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and layer this. I have actually found the easiest way to do this is to put the sticky piece upside down on my desk and then just very carefully layer my DSP over top. That allows me to get my edges lined up so that I have perfectly layered piece. Okay, I find it harder to do the other way around, to have the sticky piece, because you know how sticky sticks to your fingers and it doesn't cooperate quite as nicely. Get rid of that little bit there. There we go. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. All right, so that is just going to get glued onto our background piece. We're just going to glue it flat. So I'll just throw a little bit of seal on here. And we're going to stick that down, I don't know, right about there. Looks good. And then that is going to get glued onto a thick basic white card base, 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½. So we'll go ahead and fold that in half. And then I'll use a little liquid glue to stick this guy onto our card base. There we go. I love this combo with that little pop of blue and the soft seafoam. It's just so pretty. Makes me long for spring. We are in for yet another. We had a big dump of snow on the weekend, and we're in for another one, if you can believe it, on Wednesday nights. Like another big one, like 8 inches, big one. So yeah, winter is nowhere near over. All right, we're going to stamp now this smaller floral image from the stamp set. I'm going to stamp in basic gray. Again, this is a brand new basic gray pad. This one was on its last legs, not just because, well, I'll tell you a story. It needed to be re-inked. So I pulled out my basic gray re-inker and didn't pay attention to which one I was pulling out. And I actually put, do you remember when we had archival basic gray ink? Well, I do. And I still had a re-inker, and I accidentally put archival basic gray ink on my classic pad, which was pretty much the end of my classic pad. So I had to order a new basic gray pad and sadly send my old one to the landfill. So I'm doing my little upside down stamping trick here with my blank die cut. I find that a really quick and easy way when I am wanting to line up dies for stamped images. I find this much easier than trying to stamp and then die cut. That's my personal preference. Again, you'll notice this is quite a bit darker because this was really dry. All right, so we're going to stamp our flowers in Balmy Blue. So I'm going to start by coloring the whole flower in the light. These are really quick to color. They're not very large images. And then I'm going to come in with my dark, and I'm just going to hit sort of the folded petal, just the edge like that. Okay, and then same thing with the second one. Get those all filled in. And then again, I'm going to come back and catch those folded petals with the dark. Sorry, my voice is quite croaky today. I overdid it singing with my ACE class. So I'm a little bit hoarse. All right, for the leaves, I'm just going to come in with dark soft seafoam. I'm not going to worry about doing any shading on these because they're pretty small. So I'm not going to worry about doing any shading. There we go. Really quick and easy. Okay, now we are going to layer that with our little branches here. Okay, so this is just a soft seafoam die cut using the large branch die that is in the die set. And what I'm going to do is actually cut this up to give me a bunch of smaller little sprigs. I like to do this a lot when I have large die cuts. It gives me lots of bits to play with. And you know me, I like to floral arrange. All right, so I'm just going to take and add a little bit of steel to the back of my flowers here. And then we're just going to play around. So we'll add maybe some leaves there and some leaves there. Maybe another one. Oh, what do we do? We'll add another one up there. And then I'm going to trim this off as well because I don't need quite that much. And we'll add this one down here, just like that. Okay. And yeah, I'm good with that. We're going to pop that up just sort of over this detailed floral die cut portion. So I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals here. And we'll pop that on. And we'll do it just like that. Okay, and then we're going to stamp our sentiment. So our sentiment is just going to get stamped. Where'd I put my little, I had a little strippy. There it is, it's hiding. So this is just a 1/2-inch strip that is scrap left over from cutting my layers for inside my cards. So this is 1/2 inch by, I don't know, maybe it's 5.5. I don't know, doesn't matter. We're going to cut it anyway. So I'm going to stamp my Love and Thanks sentiment from the stamp set in basic gray ink. I gotta, sorry, pull this down. You're probably not gonna be able to see me stamp this because I gotta get right over it to be able to see where I'm stamping. Oh, it's a little high, but I can live with that. All right, so then I'm just gonna take and trim the end. So this is a great way to use up these little scraps. I often get asked, like, what do you do with all of these little scraps? To be honest, I throw a lot of them out because if I kept all of the little 1/2-inch scraps that I generated, I would be drowning in 1/2-inch scraps. But this is a great way, really easy way to use it and create a little sentiment banner. Now I'll just explain what I did there. So I trimmed the right end off at an angle, and then I took the scrap piece and laid it over top and used it as a guide to cut the left side, so I get the same angle on both ends. Okay, now it is kind of bothering me that this is a little bit off center, so I'm just going to trim a little bit of the width off this to clean that up. There we go. Now it's centered. Problem solved. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of baker's twine. So I'm going to go ahead and just tie a bitty bow. So this is it comes in a 3-pack. It's got the Balmy Blue, the Lemon Lolly, and the Calypso Coral. Can't remember the name of the pack, but it is from the annual, and it's still available, and it works with a whole lot. It actually works beautifully with the beautiful Bokeh DSP. It's got all the colors. All the colors that are in this pack are in the Bokeh DSP. So I've been reaching for this pack a lot because I've been playing with that paper. So I'm going to go ahead and press the back of my little banner into a glue dot, and then just press that onto the knot of my bow to pick it up. Okay. And then we're going to add some dimensionals. I might actually use some minis because I cut this narrower, and we want to make sure that we're not going to see our dimensionals peeking out the back. So we'll do it that way. Get rid of these bitty backings and then pop this onto our card. Hopefully straight. So I say hopeful because, you know, sometimes it's crooked. See, that's why I have to hope. There we go. That's better. And then we're going to add these are the purple adhesive back sequins, believe it or not. They don't look very purple. So these ones are iridescent. So in some light, they look purple, but in some light, they look green. In some light, they look blue. They're magical sequins. They're chameleon sequins. So we'll just tuck a couple of these on and done. Easy peasy. You like that one? But what a difference fresh ink makes, right? So both of these were really dry ink pads, and this one is nice and bold. So it pays to re-ink your pads every once in a while, but with the correct ink. Don't use archival ink on your classic pad. Okay, that's my hot tip for today. All right, let's move on. I need a couple of these stamps for our next card. So I need, oh, that one's okay. I don't need to clean it. Okay, our next card is this one. I wanted to do a masculine take with this bundle because when you look at it, it kind of screams feminine, right? But I have men in my life. My husband and my son are the two most important men in my life. And so I need masculine card ideas. So I thought I would challenge myself. Sorry, I'm just going to get this baker's twine out of the way before it unravels all over my desk. I thought I would challenge myself to create a masculine card using this set. Okay. All right. Yeah, the archival ink, Louise, is not water-based, so it won't wash out. Yeah, it's like solvent ink. So my pad was toast. It's all right. I have a new one. It's all good. It gave me a reason to put in another order, right? All right, so to start with this, we're going to work on both our sort of old olive panel and our hexagon at the same time because we're using similar techniques on both. So I'm just going to pull in my inks. I'm going to be using 2 shades of green. I'm using Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. And I am going to start by stamping, I think I did tone on tone with Old Olive first. I don't remember. I just made this card and I don't remember. That's the kind of week it's been. All right, so I'm going to come in with this leafy image. So the same one we used on the previous card. And I'm going to do the similar kind of technique where I'm just going to stamp kind of randomly all over my panel here. And I am going to make sure I hit the whole panel. I don't want to leave gaps because we're going to see a little bit more of it. Okay, so that's the first step. Really, really simple. Then I'm going to come in with one of the elements of text stamp. So it is this one. It's kind of like typewriter text Times New Roman. It's this stamp right here. And I can't really read it. A bluebell, spring, lark, and breeze. Spring, spring, spring. That's kind of all I can read, but I know it's spring. And I'm down with spring, so we're good for that. All right. So I'm going to take and stamp this image several times using Mossy Meadow ink. Now, speaking of dry ink pads, my Mossy Meadow is quite dry. So I'm going to stamp a few times full strength which doesn't really look all that full strength because it is so dry. And then I'm going to do a couple stamped off as well, just to get a little bit of depth. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Oh, we need one more over here. There we go. And then I'm going to come in with one of the spatter stamps, this one from the Elements of Text. You know me and spatter stamps. If there's a spatter stamp in a stamp set, I am buying that set. I love spatters. So once again, I'm going to come in, and again, I'm going full strength, even though it doesn't look like it because my pads are really dry. I need to sit down. I need to make time to sit down and re-ink like all my pads. Have a re-inking party because they are really, really dry. There we go. Okay, so we just got this sort of messy collage going on. And then I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending. So I'm going to come back with my Old Olive. Oh, I should keep this handy because we're going to need it on our other piece. And we are going to come in with a blending brush and just do a little bit of ink blending. So I'm doing, again, Old Olive ink on my Old Olive cardstock. That's going to provide a little bit of shading, and it's also going to blur the stamped images a little bit, which I like the effect of. If you don't like that blurred look, kind of distresses it a little bit. If you're not a fan of that, you can do the ink blending first and then stamp your images. Okay, so you can do it in the opposite order to get a crisper, cleaner stamped image, if that is what you prefer. So I'm just kind of coming on around the edges, just blending that all out. And that's it. Kind of messy, kind of fun. All right. Now I'm going to come in with my hexagon here. I'm going to do the same thing with my ink. So this time I'm inking first, and then I'm going to stamp. And I'm not going to use nearly as many images. I don't want it to be quite as busy as my background. So again, I'm coming in, and what I love about this is that it really accentuates that stitched detail around the edges when you ink it, which just makes that stitching really pop. So I'm keeping the middle quite a bit lighter. I want my edges to be darker. A little bit more down there. There we go. And then I'm also going to come in with some Mossy Meadow to darken just the very edges even more, because I want it to stand out against the green or the Old Olive. There we go. And then I'm going to come in again with my Old Olive ink and stamp the leaf image a couple of times. That's going to kind of fill out my little arrangement that we're going to do on the front. So we will add a couple of these. Now, how much? I think I want the light to kind of be this way. So I'm going to stamp one kind of up here and then one down a little bit lower. And I'm not going to worry about the gap there. That's going to get covered. But it's just going to fill out my arrangement a little bit. All right, so we've done all the messy stuff. Let's do a little bit of assembly here. So my background is just a piece of the Country Woods DSP. I love using this paper for masculine cards. It just adds a great sort of manly texture. My husband likes to work with wood, so I think of him when I see wood grain. Now this is cut to a card front size. So this is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. So we're not going to have any border. You'll see there's no border on the front of our card. So this Old Olive piece, I don't think I gave you the measurements. This one is 3 by 5 1/4. All of the measurements are in the video description. Okay, so if you want to try and recreate any of these, you are welcome to. That they're all there for your use. So we'll glue on our Old Olive panel. And when I glue this, I'm going to have an equal border at the top and the side. Okay, so it's about 1/8 of an inch border. Then I'm going to glue on my octagon, not hexagon. Sorry about that, Jean. I think I said hexagon earlier. I'll get it right yet. Maybe I need to retire and go back to remedial math, get my shapes down. I just didn't take the time to count the sides. That's my problem. There we go. Okay. Now let's work on our sentiment. So I've got a couple of my little branches here. One is die cut from Mossy Meadow cardstock, and this one is cut from the textured gold foil. It's just got that really nice, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see? Yeah, it's got the little lines texture in it. And then I've got a banner that I cut using the Stylish Shapes dies from Wild Wheat. I am already mourning the loss of Wild Wheat. It is going away. It's one of our retiring ink colors, and I'm already sad that it's going. So you're going to see a lot of Wild Wheat in the next few weeks. So I'm going to stamp my You've Been on My Mind sentiment, which is another one from the Memorable Bloom stamp set. I'm going to stamp it towards the right end of my banner, and I'm stamping in Early Espresso ink. And then we're going to adhere our little branches here. So we're going to glue our Mossy Meadow one on the front and then the gold one to the back of our banner. Now, this is one of the few times you will see me fussing with liquid glue because I didn't want to put adhesive sheets all over the back of this when I only need a little wee bit that will actually need glue. So the trick here is to make sure you get the part that you put glue on onto your banner. There we go. Okay, now gluing this guy on the back is easy because we're just going to run some seal. Easy peasy. And we'll have this one kind of going at a little bit different angle. And I like to vary the height. Okay, so this one's a little shorter, this one's a little taller. Now that is just going to go on with a couple of dimensionals. So we'll throw those on there. And pop that on. Now, if you're worried about these flopping around, I did add a couple of sort of half minis. So to get a half mini, I just cut up from the bottom of my mini dimensionals and literally cut them in half. And they are the perfect size, if you pick them up with your take your pick, to pop onto these leaves. And make sure they're not kind of flopping around on your card. And I put one right here to kind of secure those two together. And we'll add a couple here. And one here. And that way, everything will stay put. And we won't have floppy leaves. Nobody wants floppy leaves on their card. Oh, already took the backing off those. Yep, I do remember doing that, vaguely. All right, now this is going to go on, and I just want to make sure that I'm layering these over top of my stamp leaves, right? That's going to fill out my little arrangement visually. Okay, make sure our dimensionals stick down. And then our embellishment here is a little bit of linen thread. Again, linen thread is my go-to for masculine cards. And I'm going to do a double bow. So I need a fair bit of length, and this is my pet peeve. When this stuff starts coming off the ends of the spool, it drives me crazy. So I need a fair bit of length here because I'm going to do a double bow. When you have really curly linen thread, take your bone folder and just run the thread between your thumb and the bone folder, and it straightens out quite nicely. So I'll just trim some of that off, and then I'm going to fold this over to get a double thickness, and that gives me lots of length. One of the hardest things to do when you're trying to tie a double bow is if you're working with really short pieces, it can be really hard to maneuver the double thickness. So I like to work with lots of length. And if I have leftover bits that I'm going to trim off, if they're long enough, I will use them on another card. So let's just start with that. I always start with my ends long and then kind of give them a haircut once I get the bow into place. So I'm going to take a glue dot, roll that into a little booger, press it onto my banner where I want my bow to go, and press the knot into the bow, just like that. And then we're going to give it a little haircut. There's one. Couple of snippy snips. There we go. All right, now this is going to get glued onto a wild wheat card base. I did mention that I'm all about the wild wheat until it retires. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And even though we don't see the wild wheat on the front, I like that when we open the card, we do get that beautiful gold wild wheat on the inside. Now, whenever I am layering a card front that is a full card front size, I'm not going to have a border. I like to use liquid glue because it allows me to get things wiggled into place. Sometimes, you know, our aim's a little off, or sometimes our measuring is a little off, and we might need to give it a little massage to get it to where we need it. This one was actually pretty good. Made myself look good. All right, and then our last touch is some of these fun metallic dots. I love these textured metallic dots. They are also from the annual catalog. They're part of the wildly flowering, I think it's called, suite in the annual. And I think these are great for masculine cards. I really like using them. Again, that touch of metal really makes it pop. And there you go. Not too difficult, right? Now on the inside, I just added a white panel, did a little bit of ink blending. There was a crease in my cardstock, so I've got a little bit, my ink blending highlighted the crease, but that's okay. We stamped over it. We'll hide it. No one will know. Here we go. All right. That one is done. Oh, Jean, thank you. I'm glad you like what I'm doing here. It always makes me happy to know that, you know, people appreciate what I do. Sometimes, you know, you sit down here alone in your studio and you wonder if anybody really is paying attention. So I always appreciate the positive feedback from all of you. Thank you. Okay, our last card is this one. So I posted this one yesterday. So this highlights that window that is left in the negative when we use that sort of octagon frame die. Okay, so again, really, really easy card. All of our cards today are really quite simple, but they're real wows because this is such a great bundle. I need to clean. No, I don't. I'm good. I thought I needed to clean a stamp, but I think we're good. All right. So here is my card front. It's just a 4 by 5¼ inch piece of white cardstock that I have die cut using that large octagon frame. Okay. And actually this was what was left from cutting the detailed die cut when I cut this one out, right? So you can kind of do double duty. Don't waste it. So that is going to form our card front, and our card base, again, thick basic white, 4¼ by 11, is going to be our base. So what we're going to do effectively is we're going to stamp right on our card base, and then this is going to layer over top to create a bit of a peek through window. So what I did to kind of get an idea of where I need to stamp and do my ink blending, I just kind of laid my card front beside my card base to kind of get an idea of where I want things to go. So I'm going to start with this large sort of circular text stamp from the Elements of Text stamp set. And I'm going to stamp in some smoky slate ink. Okay, and again, this is a fairly dry pad, so it's not going to be super dark, and I'm not really worried about getting really even coverage because I kind of want it to be sort of, and let's make sure we stamp it up right side up. Okay, I thought for a second, I didn't. I thought I put my sticker on upside down. I was like, what the heck did I do? But no, we're good. So I'm going to just kind of use this as a guide to get an idea of how high to stamp my text. Okay. Then we're going to come in with some Lost Lagoon ink and a blending brush. And we're just going to do a little bit of light ink blending. Someone is ringing my doorbell upstairs, and my son is supposed to be answering. I think that is our dinner, and he has not answered it. Somebody keeps ringing. So our dinner may be cold on the porch. I did tell him to listen for the doorbell, but you know, he's 17 and wears noise-canceling headphones when he watches YouTube. So I have a feeling. Oh, no, there he comes. I heard him. He's coming down the stairs. All right, all is good. We will not have cold dinner. All right, so that's really all there is to it. I'm just doing a little ink blending. Now I am going to come kind of outside the circle just in case. If you look here, just see how I wasn't perfectly centered, and actually kind of like that. But in order to hide that fact that I wasn't perfectly centered, I just did a little extra blending because nobody's going to see it if it goes out of the lines. But it also gives me a little bit of a cushion or a buffer in case I didn't get this exactly where I need it to be. Okay. Then before we layer, we're going to do a little bit of spatter stamping because, you know, I'm me and I love spatters. Let's do a full strength there. And maybe a little guy there. And a little one there. Okay. Now we're going to work on our focal image. So we'll set this aside. As you can see, if I put that on, it's pretty good. It's a little low, but not too bad. So we're going to set that aside for now, and then we're going to work on our flowers. Where is my flower stamp? Oh, it's over there. What did I do? Put it on my other desk. All right, so we're going to stamp this large sort of spray of flowers. Again, I've die cut my negative ahead of time. And we're going to stamp it in basic gray as soon as I dig it out from my pile of ink pads here. All right, so we're going to ink this up. Yes, those of you who have not yet ordered or have not yet got the Elements of Text, you need to get it. Like, I'm just telling you, it's not very often I say that there's must-haves, but those arch dies, that was you have to order these, and this Elements of Text. It is a great set or stamp set. So I'm going to go ahead now. I need to not talk because I can't concentrate and talk at the same time. Get this centered. There we go. And I'm going to bring in my big old block here to press that down. There we go. Whew. This is why I can't talk. I have to be able to concentrate on stamping. All right, so to color this, we are using just a really basic color palette of Wild Wheat and Lost Lagoon. So our flowers, we're coloring them all in light Wild Wheat. And then again, just like we did on the first card, we're going to hit the little folded petals with the dark, just to add a little bit of shading there. But to start, I'm just going to color all of these really quickly with my light Wild Wheat. Little buds. How are we ever going to live without Wild Wheat? Do you remember when it first came out and we were all saying it looks like baby poop? Yeah, I remember it. And now I honestly don't know how I'm going to craft without it. I love this color so much. Maybe it'll come back in a color refresh one day. I especially love it paired with Lost Lagoon. Thankfully, Lost Lagoon is not going anywhere anytime soon. So we'll just get the rest of these. I should have colored some of these ahead of time. I apologize that you have to watch me color. And then I'm going to come in with the dark, and I'm going to hit those folded petals. So there, this little guy. And then I kind of did like these bottom petals, these ones that are kind of cup shaped on the smaller flowers. I added just a little bit to my buds. There we go. And then for my my leaves rather, I am coloring the large leaves with light Lost Lagoon. So we're going to hit those first. So there's one. And two. And three. And four. See, this is where I wish I were doing a reel and I could speed up this step, right? When you watch somebody coloring on a reel, you realize how much it's sped up. Okay, then I'm going to come in with the dark, and I'm just going to kind of follow the vein on the leaf just to add a little bit of shadow there. Just like that. And then all of the smaller leaves are also going to get colored in the dark. So these go fairly quickly because they are quite small. Some of them are really teeny. You barely need to touch them. But isn't this a great color combo? Lost Lagoon and Wild Wheat. It is a fave. In fact, you're going to see it again on one of the other cards I'm going to show you at the end. I added another color, but I stuck with this combo because I really like it. Almost there. Thanks for sticking with me if you're still watching. I should have colored these ahead of time. Oh well. Coloring is quite relaxing. I can feel my blood pressure dropping as I'm doing this. Anybody else like to color to relax? There we go. Done. Okay. Now we are going to layer that with another of our little leafy die cuts here. This time it's cut from Lost Lagoon. So it's going to kind of be peeking up from behind. So I'm going to add just a little bit of seal. And we will just adhere it to the back. Kind of like that. And then this is actually going to get adhered inside our window here. So it kind of peeks out. So again, I'm going to put a little bit of seal just so that we can tack this in place. Just like that. And then we're going to add some dimensionals to pop this up on the front of our card. So we'll do a bunch of individual dimensionals, and then we're going to trim a frame. I have a whole bunch of leftover frames from classes that got used up. So I'm going to use a couple of them. Let's just stick that in the middle, and then we can cut our frame. So anytime I'm adhering at like a large piece like this, I like to use the edges of my dimensionals because it's fewer backings to take off. Call me lazy. I don't know. I just don't like fussing with, 300 backings. So this way, I don't have to. I did a class once. I don't know if I've told this story, but someone was sitting and playing with, they'd finished their sheet of dimensionals and then was peeling the edge off and just playing with it. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, oh, it's done. It's empty. I'm like, no, it's not. There's still lots of perfectly good adhesive there. So I rescued it from the trash bin. There we go. And we'll do one little bit here on the edge. And I think we're good. Oh, we need a little bit there too. Oh, that's going to be too wide. Let's get that little bit at the edge. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to fold our card base. That's going to make this easier to get it centered. So one of the biggest challenges I have is getting popped pieces, especially when I'm doing a whole card front, getting it centered. I find that really, really challenging. So we're going to see how Lena does. It may or may not go well. Oh, I found another spot where I need a dimensional right there. So we'll get rid of all these backings. Yes, Louise, we absolutely could turn this into a shaker card. I had intended to make a shaker card with this set. I just ran out of time. I may yet make one and post it later this week, so you can see a shaker idea with this bundle. All right, I'm actually going to stand because I can get better perspective when I stand. All right, it's not quite centered, but it's relatively straight. There we go. Okay, wasn't a disaster. All right, now we're going to stamp our sentiment. Now I have to point this out to you. So a couple of weeks ago, I featured the Mixed Florals suite. It's an online exclusive suite, and part of that is the Mixed Labels bundle. See the border on this label? See the border on this octagon? They match. Okay, so these coordinate. It's like they were made for each other. So when I discovered that, I did a little happy dance, as I often do. My husband thinks I'm a lunatic in here. But I was really quite excited to discover that this cute stitching on these Mixed Labels dies are the same as is on the octagon. How's that for a happy discovery? All right, so I've stamped my sentiment in basic gray. The sentiment is also in the stamp set. And I'm just going to add one dimensional here onto my card base. And then I'm just going to run a little seal on both ends because they're going to overlap the portion that is already popped. So hopefully this is going on straight-ish. And then our last couple of touches here, a little bit of a gold twine bow. Look at, oh, makes me crazy. I need to like put tape or something on the end of my spools so it doesn't fall off. So we'll make us a little twine or twisted gold, or what is this? Gold twisted thread. Gold twisted thread bow. Now this stuff is, I think, out of stock right now, but I think it's due back fairly soon. I was looking today. I don't remember. There's a lot of stuff right now that's out of stock. So I've been watching. Now I'm going to put my bow right where my stem on my flowers meets the border, the edge of the frame there. And just press that into place. And then my last touch is some of these in color opaque sparkled dots. These are going to go away because they're for the retiring in colors. And they're quite pretty. I haven't used very many, as you can see. So it's time to get them used up, right? Does anybody else start like thinking about all the style products that are retiring and, oh, I need to use these? Like, hurry up. That's me right now. So there we go. You like that one? All right. Let me bring back all of our projects and I'll show you a couple more. So there's 1 and 2 and 3. I'll get my very messy gold thread out of the way. I have my little notch cut, but they're coming off the other end. Ugh, such a pain. All right, so let me show you a couple more before I let you go. So last night during our Stamping Symphony team meeting, we had someone demonstrate, Linda Jared, demonstrated this adorable little box. So it is a box that has this cute butterfly closure, and then it holds quite a bit. It's actually larger than it looks, but I used some of the Celebration Bloom Impressions DSP, and then some of the sentiments and images from the stamp set. So that is a cute little box. Here is a really simple, sort of different take on this one. Basically the same, except instead of stamping with the leaves, I stamped with the flowers on some Berry Burst cardstock. And then here's one I did where I used a faux embossing technique. So I used that leaf die cut and layered it on white on white to give a faux embossed look. And then a little bit of Shy Shamrock. I don't use Shy Shamrock very often. It's a very bold green, but I was feeling springy. So that's what I used on that one. And then here is that. Oh, I didn't use Lost Lagoon. I thought about using Lost Lagoon on this one. I ended up going with Mossy Meadow. I thought I had. So I've used Mossy Meadow, Dark Daffodil Delight, and light copper clay on this one. So I basically cut up both the large floral image and my little leaves and just kind of went to town. And there's little bits of my elements of text and some spatters, of course, peeking out. So there you go. Some ideas. Oh, very crooked ideas. There we go. Using the elements of text stamp set and the Memorable Blooms bundle. You like those? All right. It seems you like them. All right. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I'm glad you like these. Okay, I'm going to get back to me. And I have to give you a heads up. So next week, I think I will be live at 5. But I am taking my band to Music Fest Regional. So it's Regional Festival for Music Fest Canada on Tuesday of next week. I didn't pick the date. Sorry. I think I'll be back in time, but just in case I'm not, I'm giving you a heads up that if I'm not live at 5, I will be live as soon as I can after 5. Okay. But I should be back. Okay. So wish us luck. This is our first appearance at Regional since 2018. No, sorry, 2019. We were booked to go in 2020. And you know what happened? we didn't get there because COVID became a thing and our program was basically shut down for 2 years. So then we were booked to go when we came out of COVID, and we had a bus cancel day. We couldn't get there. And then last year we couldn't afford to go. So it's been a long time coming. I'm very excited. It's my last chance to take a group to regionals. So I'm excited for them. So that's where I will be on Tuesday. But again, I should be back in time to be live with you. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Thank you for your kind words. I can't even tell you how much they mean to me. I read every single comment. And even if I don't necessarily respond to all of them, I read them all and I so appreciate them. So thank you and have a great day. Have a great evening and a great rest of your week. And I will see you next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.